Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today is Friday, so that means that we're going to be doing some requests today. And today I'm going to be talking about a movie that is requested by my cousin Chance, so shout out to you for dropping this comment down below. He technically said he wanted the newer one, but I decided that I was going to do both. Today, starting with this one, and then next week following it up with the new one. So I decided that would probably be the best way to go about it, because I don't want to just watch the newer one and then not watch the older one, so I decided to watch both. And today, we're going to be talking about Total Recall. Total Recall was released in 1990. It was written by Ronald Shusett, Daniel O'Bannon, and Gary Goldman, not to be confused with Gary Oldman, and directed by Paul Verhoeven. So this movie, I had no idea what it was about. All I knew that it had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and I typically don't like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I'm just not a huge fan of just action movies in general. So I wasn't particularly looking forward to this one, but of course it's a request and I honor all my requests, so I started watching it this morning. And for those of you who are curious, it is, at least as of current, it is on Netflix. So if you guys want to watch it, it is on Netflix, so feel free to watch it. I actually really enjoyed watching this movie. I think it was really well put together and really well thought out, and it was kind of gross. This movie is brutal. It is gory and gross and awesome, and everything you really want is in here. It's quite fantastic in terms of action and grossness in general. I am quite impressed with the amount of gore in this movie. So if you like gore, this is for you also. Action in general, pretty good. A lot of really solid acting. The pace is pretty good. But essentially what happens is it's about this guy who is a construction worker, and his life goal is to go to Mars. Now this is set way in the future, so there are robots and people live on Mars all the time. And then he learns about this new program. Excuse me, wow, I started. He learned about this new program called Recall, where you can go in and you can basically order memories. Okay. So you go there and I would like to order 2 weeks worth of Mars memories. Therefore, it's like you went on vacation, but it's cheaper because they just implant it into your brain. So he goes and he's like, I'd like 2 weeks on Mars, please. And they're like, okay. So then they put him there, but the issue is that so he chose to be a secret agent going to Mars, which is already kind of complicated. So he chooses that, but then once he goes under to learn about the memory and stuff, he kind of goes crazy because they said that he was already a secret agent on Mars, and so his memories are coming back and all those weird things, and that's why it's called Total Recall, because he's starting to remember what he had done before. But the ending, so basically he goes over there to Mars in the dream, or so we think, which is technically real life at this point because he's not dreaming anymore, so it's hard to really tell. But he goes there and basically he has to kill Cohagen and take control of this thing so that Mars can have air, because Cohagen is selling air instead of just letting people breathe. So it's complicated, but it's cool. But the ending is very ambiguous, so you never really know if he was actually in a dream the whole time or if he wasn't. So that's really, really cool. I think it's a really cool idea. I'm pretty happy with how that worked out. I liked it. I think it was a really solid movie. I'm not necessarily looking forward to the next one, the reboot. I am, because I love Bryan Cranston and Colin Farrell, and they're both in it. But I'm scared that it's going to lose the integrity that this one had. This one only had a couple faults, and really a lot of it was kind of cheesy at parts, and I didn't really like the whole sci-fi feel of it. But the action was really good, and some of the special effects weren't great, but most of them were really good. It's a little long, I feel like. I feel like by the third act, it kind of feels like, we know where this is going, let's just get on with it. I think that's a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger films, though. They kind of feel long because they wanted to do all these cool action sequences, and a lot of them were really cool, but some of them didn't need to be as long as they were, Let's go ahead and talk about the acting. starting with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Quaid. Again, not a huge Schwarzenegger fan. But I think he did really well in this film. I liked it because, like, he's an action star, of course, so he does all this action stuff. But more importantly, I think he is a comedian. He's funny. And he has a lot of really funny one-liners in here that I really enjoyed. And I think he was able to play the complexity of, you know, being able to be a secret agent but regular construction worker at the same time and never really showing which one he was. So that was kind of cool. I liked his character. I liked how he portrayed it. I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a very good role for Colin Farrell. Not that I don't think he can pull it off. I just don't think that he'll be able to pull it off as well as Schwarzenegger did. I know that they originally casted, you know, a smaller person who, you know, could do the role but not be super buff. But then they switched it to Arnold Schwarzenegger when they changed the director. And I liked this version, so I don't know if I'm going to like the next version or not. I suppose we'll wait and see and find out. Rachel Ticotin, I believe it's pronounced as Melina. So Melina is basically his girlfriend, or what he thinks was his girlfriend at the time. It could just be a dream girlfriend, we're not sure. I didn't really care for her character very much, or the performance. Not that I think the performance is necessarily bad, it just wasn't particularly fantastic. It wasn't, like, over-the-top great, but I think it's hard to kind of go against Schwarzenegger here, because he's a big leading force in a lot of films that he's in, and so working with him must be really difficult. And I don't think that she quite stepped up to his level. Sharon Stone as Laurie. This was his original wife, and I think she did a wonderful job. I think she matched his character quite well. She was able to kind of go up against him. She was very actiony, very funny, very interesting. It was a very, very good dynamic between Quaid and Laurie here, and I really liked whenever she was on screen with him. It was really fun. So, congrats to Stone for being able to step up and, you know, actually compete with your fellow actor. That's what it really is. It is competing. You don't really think about it as competing, but it is. You're competing for attention, essentially. And they both did very, very well. Ronny Cox as Cohaagen. Almost no screen time for being the big bad guy. That is one big negative. The bad guy was just kind of mean for, like, not really much of a reason besides, like, financial reasons, which I get, but I also hate. It's complicated, I think. But I think that he didn't do as good of a job as his other kind of bad guy. He's the overarching bad guy. Like, he's supposed to be, like, the worst person in the movie, but he really wasn't. So I felt that was kind of dumb. If you're going to have a bad guy and you're going to name him as, like, a really, really bad guy, make him a bad guy. Like, don't make him, like, a weird guy that you kind of see in the background sometimes. But for the most part, you don't see it all. That's really frustrating to me when we have these really great characters that have a reason to be mean and bad and evil, and then they're just kind of like background characters. It was really dumb. Michael Ironside as Richter. Richter was like the henchman kind of for Cohaagen, and I think he did even better of a job than Cohaagen, which is a problem because, you know, he's not really the main bad guy. He has way more screen time, and he develops a nice character. I don't think it's necessarily the best character, considering the fact that he doesn't really have a reason to be evil, but I think his character was good for the fact that he was just a henchman basically getting money to collect Quaid. Wasn't the best villain? No. Was it better than Cohaagen? I do believe it was better than Cohaagen, which is a problem when Cohaagen is your main character, your main villain. I hope they fix that in the next one with Bryan Cranston's character. First of all, I'll be very upset if we don't get a lot of Bryan Cranston. But second of all, I think that having a character that actually is there most of the time and is the prominent bad guy would be helpful. But that being said, overall, a really solid movie, a really fun movie to watch. The special effects were really good, considering a lot of them were practical, and really, really gory, particularly towards the end there, were like really gory, almost puked. It was nasty. It was awesome. I'm going to go ahead and give this movie an A-. I think an A- is fair, mainly because I didn't think that all the evil parts of the movie were really put together, which is hard in screenwriting. I find that that's like the hardest thing to do. Maybe I'll make a video on villainry and like why some villains just don't quite work. But that's in the future. Speaking of the future, let's see what's happening in the future. For those of you who aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It helps a whole lot. We're really going places, and I'd love it if you guys came along with me. Looking forward to the next of this week. First of all, today, if everything goes well, Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out, so I will be releasing that, hopefully. Looks like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and The Courier comes out today. I'm hoping to get through all of that. We'll see, and if it releases that day or not, because a lot of people have been moving their release dates back, so if it doesn't come out that day, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm filming this a few weeks in advance, so we'll see how it goes. Looks like tomorrow I have Mad Max Fury Road. I watched that for school, so I'll be releasing that tomorrow, it looks like. And on Sunday, I should be releasing a Robert's Thoughts episode on why we should continue to go to the movie theater. This is a very important episode for me, so make sure you guys... oh, actually, no, this is already out. Yep, it's already out. That's already out. So if you haven't seen that yet, please consider watching it. It's a very important thing that I'm filming it today, so I don't know when it comes out yet. But I'm really excited to talk about it, so please consider go watching that. It looks like a really good episode. I did a lot of research for it, so please consider doing that. But as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.